Welcome to the July 25th, 2024 Planning Board meeting. Our chairman is not available tonight, so I'm filling in as chairman for him. Bruce Fillmore, the vice chairman. We're missing 2 members. I'm going to appoint Jack and Ray as voting members. First on the agenda is design review meeting for Second Chance Ranch Rescue on Law Road, map 411, lot 258004. It's in the RA zone. The applicant is seeking to construct a 40 by 60 metal building and a primary residence as a residential home. The property is to be used for the rehabilitation of animals, home for dogs, rescue. The applicant's been here a couple of times, once for a conceptual hearing back in December, and then once last month. And last month, we asked the applicant to go to the zoning board for a variance, because the primary use as a rescue is not allowed in the zoning. Our zoning is permissive zoning, so if something isn't listed in the zoning as being permitted, then it is not. And in the RA zone, the only thing that comes close is a kennel is allowed by conditional use permit. However, in the definitions, a kennel is excluding veterinary clinics or clinics or facilities engaged in the rehabilitation of rescue dogs. So we can't consider it a kennel as a conditional use permit application because it's not a kennel. So we really need the applicant to get a variance. We can I'd rather not even accept the application because we don't have the variance in place yet. We can not accept it without prejudice, which means we're not eliminating your possibility to come back here. And if you already paid the fees, we won't have you pay the fees again to come back here, but you will have to notify the abutters because we don't know what date to continue this to. So it's up to the applicant, I guess. If you'd like to withdraw the application, it's up to you. Or we won't accept it.
Can I ask some questions before I answer?
Yeah, you can ask a couple questions.
Our last meeting was in March, so I just want to make sure we're referring to the same meeting because you said last month.
Yeah, it's,
You just mean the past meeting?
yeah, I've got,
Correct.
Okay, just want to check,
Yep.
to make sure we're on the same page.
yeah, we are. We haven't had, we don't discuss anything about anything without the applicant being here, so.
Yep.
It wasn't something we discussed without you here. But, yeah, it was
Okay.
March 28th, I'm sorry.
Okay, just want to confirm.
Yep,
And then I was under the impression that we were told to go for a variance because there was no primary residence space, no living space.
well,
That was the takeaway from the conversation, and
I know, that's what the December minutes reflect.
yes.
Yep, I'm aware of that, but unfortunately, I guess we gave you some bad advice then. But because, can't tell you why, but it's not allowed in the zoning ordinance that we have.
So in the zoning ordinance, there is a statement about the allowed use of rehabilitation of animals.
Where is that? You know?
I know it's in the zoning ordinance, I could look and find it for you, I don't want to give you an inaccurate place.
Because I've looked through this and there's no, I can't find in the zoning where it's allowed, in the RA zone.
Could I flip through that? Could I look through that? Could I
Yeah.
take a moment? I think it's.
This is definitions.
He gave us that information, so unfortunately, when we reach out, we don't get any information back. So
This is,
Yeah.
how do you move forward without?
I'm just gonna search it on my computer rather than,
yeah,
one second, I'll find where it is.
we'll give her a minute. What chapter is it in?
I knew I should have wrote it down. Yeah, I just want to give them exactly where it is, rather than quoting myself. Can you please look it up on your phone? Yeah. That's what he said. With what he's saying, yeah. I feel like I'm looking at something. Okay. So we're gonna follow your advice to withdraw.
Okay.
Because we don't feel prepared to have the discussion, about the zoning. So I guess our question would be, should we try to apply for the, kennel permit? Or should we go for the zoning land use ordinance?
Well, but I don't think you're registered as a kennel. I mean, the kennel is,
There's multiple paths to do what we want to do, and we're trying to be open and collaborative and seek approval. So, in the town of New Boston, we chose to get a kennel permit. That was the route that we went with the town of New Boston.
they probably had a similar situation to what we're having right now. I guess if you meet the qualifications of a kennel, but we need to see how you meet the qualifications of a kennel.
Do you have the definition of what that is that we can review?
Well, commercial boarding or breeding of 5 or more dogs, whether for profit or not. So you need to have breeding females,
Sorry,
and you need to
It
board
said-
dogs.
You said boarding or breeding,
Right.
so.
So or means one or the other, it doesn't mean.
Yeah, and boarding, I guess we could qualify as temporary housing, whether for profit or not.
Yeah, I mean, the state,
Yeah.
the state qualifies as a kennel. I'd like to see if the state will grant you a kennel permit at that level first. If they grant you a kennel permit, then we'd have to look at it.
We are a licensed
We are a
kennel through the
licensed
state of New
kennel.
Hampshire. We have a kennel license.
What town?
We are in New Boston, but it's for the state.
Okay, but you'd have to notify them that you're now putting a kennel in another town. I believe.
Absolutely, there'd be a number of processes. They'd have to inspect.
Yep, so.
That can only be done after the building is complete.
Said that a kennel, you couldn't do rehabilitation in a kennel.
You can't.
Right, so you'd have to change the wording of the application to remove rehabilitation.
you wouldn't-
Yeah.
you
We
wouldn't
don't-
be able to do
yeah.
rehabilitation.
If you want to submit a different application as a kennel, you're free to do so.
Okay. I think regardless, we will withdraw tonight.
Okay?
Okay?
Okay. Since there's no application before us, I won't be hearing any public testimony. And you'll get a notice when they come before us again. Nothing's being continued. You'll all get re-notified.
I have a question about the notifications. Do they come through the mail or do they come just in a piece of paper in a mailbox?
No, it's a certified mail you have to sign for.
Okay.
And it's only direct to butters. If you live 50 feet away, you don't count.
Okay, I received something in my mailbox
You
today, so I
can,
wasn't
yeah,
sure.
you can come because it's a public meeting.
Right,
So
but you won't get a
and
certified
you just
mail.
won't get a certified
Okay.
letter. You are-
Anybody that lives in town can come. Anybody that thinks they have a a reason to come can come. We don't discourage anybody from coming, but you only get a certified letter if you're a direct abutter. And they will go on the town website too, but there won't be anything, saying to you to look at the town website because it isn't, so.
The agenda's in, the agenda's always there.
I had a long drive back, so standing is wonderful.
Nice to meet you, my name is George.
Nice to see you. Thank you. I'll tell Jeremy I saw you. I'll tell Jeremy I saw you.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right.
Every day he's like, Mom, Mom. We just kind of stand kind of
They're holding a meeting. Yeah, I think I shoot him out.
There's still some time.
Good job.
You still go home probably next.
We've talked about the CIP
Could,
previously.
yeah, speak to what we just finished? Or is that out of,
No, not really.
so what's that mean? I can or can't?
No.
Okay.
But let's see what happens.
This is my paperwork.
I won't speak about them while the applicant's not present.
Okay.
Can you talk general, can you talk
My question,
generally?
my question deals with the definition and not the application.
I think we can have that discussion if she comes back with it.
Okay. If I remember. Thank you.
This little thing we got from Naomi, I'm assuming everybody got it. It looks like everybody got it. The CIP currently is, I don't know if I was even a real member because I was the planning board representative on it. But it doesn't have any members right now. So when we talked about the planning board functioning as a CIP also, which it does in most towns, and it's allowed to in the
By statute.
statute, and actually it's intended to in the statute, but the statute also gives the planning board the right to start a CIP committee, which at the time the board elected to do. But the committee's been in place for a number of years now, and it's worked with all the department heads and the 5-year lookout plan and everything else, and everything is, all the department heads are well versed in how it works. So now it's just a matter of updating annually and going over all the requests. So it doesn't take that long. I mean, even when I started on it, I think we had 5 or 6 meetings for a couple hours apiece, and now it's down to about 3 meetings for an hour and a half apiece.
So the committee is defunct.
Everybody resigned,
Okay.
so
Yeah, one of them moved out of town.
So is page 5 the voting members of the subcommittee? That's the subcommittee there?
yes,
So all of those people that were representative of the school and so forth resigned as well?
we haven't seen a representative from the school in the whole time I've been on there. We haven't seen a representative from either school the whole time I was on there.
And generally, the CIP presentation that we've received has been doing, identifying with town issues, not school issues.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's a perfect time for the planning board to take the reins on that again. Certainly won't be stepping on anybody's toes because there's no one's toes to step on. So, I don't know if we want to take a look at these CIP procedural rules and then eliminate the subcommittee, but
I think the subcommittee's more or less been eliminated on its own.
at this point,
Could
it
appoint
has.
new members,
Right.
There's no members.
technically.
Yeah,
I mean,
they resigned and one of them, I know, moved out of town.
Craig could appoint more members because it was
Yeah.
made up of members appointed by the planning board chairman.
Something, I think, if we want to continue on, it'll be sooner rather than later, because it's getting close to that time already. for them
Yeah.
to start preparing.
Normally starts in sometime in late August, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
got a couple of weeks and it's at best.
And
You
the
don't
other,
have a land use coordinator either anymore. If you look at some of the description, you don't have a land use coordinator anymore. Because it says a land use coordinator will do this, land use coordinator will do that, you don't have one.
right, so.
We're kind of in limbo.
Well, I think, at the very least, the planning board will certainly have to do it this year, because
So this document was proposed by the CIP committee?
well, this is done in 2013.
Correct, but it's signed 2017.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Kelly was involved in doing some updates on it back then.
And the revision was only from 10,000 to 15,000.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
When's Craig coming back?
He'll be back next meeting.
Next meeting? That's good.
So, do you have this in a Word document, by any chance?
I think I don't have the back sheet, I can put two together, because the back
Okay.
sheet was a signature page, and it was, when you do it as PDF, and then it gets
Yeah.
all messy.
Yeah. Can you send it to me? I'll work on updating this. Since I probably have more in tune to this than anybody else.
But we need to do it for August stuff.
So, to make it official, we have thrown around the idea that this committee, that this board takes over that responsibility for this fiscal year.
Right.
We have to make a motion.
As
for that.
opposed to, I think we should make a motion to
Yeah.
approve that so that we can
It's official.
make it official instead of just keep talking about it.
No, that's perfect.
Oh, it's my turn.
Before you make a motion, what is the statute that governs the planning board doing it? I'm just curious.
67422
Thank you.
requires municipalities to have a CIP program. It requires the regulate development through growth management ordinance to prepare and adopt a master plan and a CIP. In '87, the town voted to authorize the planning board to prepare a CIP. In 2005, they did the subcommittee to undertake the task.
But that wasn't done by town meeting, that was done just by the planning board.
Right.
So
But I'm
the-
sorry, Janice, you also want to look at 674:5 through 8.
Yep.
it states that the planning board prepares the plan.
Yep, says
And
it
it's
right in the
important to
document.
involve the selectmen, school boards, town department heads, and other heads.
In March 10th, 1987, town meeting, the voters were authorized the planning board to prepare a CIP, a planning board
Yeah.
CIP
So
subcommittee.
as far as the town meeting, they authorize the planning board, and that's just all the town, at town meeting level, that's all that happens.
And the statute.
But it didn't actually say that a subcommittee in the 2005 vote, correct? I'm sorry, in the 1987.
Correct.
Okay, that's right.
Okay.
Statute, 674-5 is just for that, it's titled Capital Improvements Program, so.
Right. 6745-8 states that it is the planning board which prepares the plan. It is important to involve the school, board of selectmen, school board, town department heads.
For all the years, we could never get the school board to join us. Never. I shouldn't say never, Marty, oh God, what was his name?
But this looks like it should be tied to the work that the master plan is.
It
It's
is.
supposed to be all tied
You can't
together.
do a CIP without a master plan.
Right.
Always came first, the chicken or the egg?
The master plan had to come first, the CIP followed.
Chicken.
This one was clear.
Yeah.
It's not that philosophical.
Which one comes first, the cat or the horse?
So, Pastor Bill's making a motion?
Oh, yeah. I move that the planning board take over the responsibility of the CIP
Second.
for, well,
Oh, I thought you was, oh,
for this fiscal year.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes,
It's good.
opposed.
Okay. Abstentions?
Is that
Motion carries
4-1?
4-1.
Yeah.
I tried to listen, sorry.
Just as a note, Bruce will be reviewing for next meeting.
Yeah.
Next work session. Which is the next meeting.
That August 8th,
That sounds right.
since it starts on the 1st.
Yep, I think you're right. August 8th will be your next meeting. That's right around the corner.
Finalize planning board's input for the engineering services. We're gonna email Naomi their input. Did anybody do that?
Nobody emailed me, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I think we're emailing Salem.
Oh, it sounds on here.
Huh?
I thought we agreed to email Naomi.
Okay.
Oh.
Are there
Did you have
anything
inputs?
more?
Other than the inputs that you, when you were here the
Right,
first
but
time.
did you have additional ones that you sent to
No.
her? Okay.
I did not.
Or Salem or anyone?
So if there is no more, I'm understanding that Salem has all the changes and then the board can move on.
Mhm.
Selectmen. Yes.
Yeah, I think if I understand correctly, the select board was looking for input, not approval.
Yep.
So we gave our input.
You guys had wanted turnaround time requirements and
Right.
really didn't specify what those were in writing,
We're
So-
thinking five days prior to the meeting
5 days prior to the meeting.
would be,
Yeah. I think Salem had that on his notes, but.
And we're talking about the planning board meeting, correct?
yes.
Correct. That way that information could be reviewed before the meeting if necessary.
Right. It's tough when they walk up here with a letter saying, here's our recommendations, and put us on the spot. Read them right then
Yeah,
and there.
yeah, it's always better to have time to prepare,
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to digest someone else's information.
You don't have any time to think about it and ask questions if you need to. We got minutes.
Before we get, okay.
I couldn't follow you, I have the wrong RFP. Like, what are you talking about? I have the legal one, sorry.
June 27th minutes.
I noticed not only here, but even in prior minutes, and I'm not sure if they were corrected, because the 28th of March, I was not here. But Jack's last name is misspelled,
Again.
so,
I told you that last meeting.
I know it's spelled here, but it's also misspelled on March 28th minutes.
I think March
That
28th,
are
we already,
posted on as accepted or approved.
I'll check all the meetings and make sure there's an E in it,
Yeah. Not to be confused with
yeah.
On line 13,
my brother.
our guest list is incomplete,
Yeah. You're right,
because if you look at the guests noted in public comment, they need to be added there.
okay.
Plus others like, and I don't know, the only one that came to mind was Jim's wife Susan was here, Susan Russell, to be added to that. And I think there were a couple of others who did not speak that were here.
Dan Higginson was here too, wasn't he?
I didn't know who the other people were. Anything else? Let's see if I can, yep. Okay, line 31, should be Chair Francisco. Oh, Vice Chair,
Fillmore,
Fillmore, sorry, that should be Fillmore.
yeah.
Line 69, the word "not" is missing. Waiver for that because they are not changing anything in the property. Line 154 should be Tyler. And I'm not sure if that's his last name spelled correctly.
I wasn't here, so.
And then line 87, they're hoping to terminate the subcommittee before the 2nd of October, should be second meeting.
What was that, could you read that?
Line 187,
187, yeah.
they're hoping to terminate the subcommittee before the 2nd of October, should be second meeting of October. I'm not sure if terminate is a good word, but we may have said that, or conclude that portion. Let's go back to the RFP thing, the 191, 92, 93 deals with some of those changes that Ray had sent. He emailed the changes. Chair Francisco sent to Naomi.
Many questions.
Yeah, so I don't know what that meant.
I had a couple things.
Okay.
Line 162, at the end, instead of shift, it should say interval, 5-foot contour interval.
Interval.
Yeah. Line 129, second word, I think should be plan, not plain.
Plan,
Yeah, lose the E and
lose the E.
line 110. Number one, the well, the 100 foot needs to be added, the 100, it just says the foot. On line 73. I'm sorry. 71. Just says ex officio said, it should say ex officio Bloom said. That's all I have.
Okay.
Anybody else? Somebody want to make a motion?
Move we accept the minutes of June 27th, 2024 with corrections, or as corrected.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay. That's,
Can I just show you what he said? So he said he sent me questions, but it questioned the fact that why are we sending it out? And then he said some of the items listed should be done in a separate RFP, not given to the town engineer. And then I replied back that we're putting it out to kind of, we're doing a lot of things and putting it out. And then he went on to reply to that, said I would not include land surveying or engineering design. It would be best if they were done under separate RFPs. So his questions were why and how. It wasn't material-wise. It was why were we doing it and his thought of being separate. So it's kind of misleading when it said it's several questions. It wasn't pertaining to the document itself. It was why were we doing an RFP?
Bring it, too many things under the roof. Yeah. That's it on the agenda. Any new business? Anybody have anything?
I have a report that the Master Plan Subcommittee is going to start meeting next Wednesday. The agenda has been posted on our website, at which we'll appoint our officers, begin the process, and settle in on a routine meeting time on a Wednesday evening.
Okay, good.
Then, because I was looking back at other information, there were some things we brought forward at the, to put on the warrant for this past March that we took off, namely the wetland setbacks. I believe we should make sure that's on our agenda, because it's supposed to be reviewed by other information that was presented to us after Craig pulled the plug on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't want it to drift away, pun intended. Because it's been something we've been talking about for at least 4 years.
Yes,
So I think we need to be sure that
I
we
think it's been longer than that.
Been longer than 4 years.
get our homework straight on that and present it properly and effectively so that it can meet the need.
Anybody else have anything? Well, it's 7:42. Someone want to make a motion, or should I declare the meeting over, adjourned?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay. We're adjourned at 7:42.